Hello, sixth graders across the county. Welcome to the indoor-outdoor sixth grade virtual classroom. We were planning to go outside today, but it is super duper windy and we did not want our critters to blow away all over the park. I did not want to have to chase snakes all day today. So we decided we would do this indoors in my office. You can see all my lovely critters behind me here in my lovely window. So we are going to talk all about snakes today. We kind of debated what to do and we thought, well, let's talk about snakes. So I'm going to give you a little general background information about snakes, and then we will, I'll give Colleen some pictures up close if you guys want to see some of those too, because I know sometimes it's a little harder to see stuff when it's farther away. And so we'll look at, I think, 2 different species today and talk a little bit about some general knowledge about snakes that then you can go home and impress your loved ones all about the cool knowledge that you know all about snakes now. Or scare them if you'd rather do that. Some people don't like snakes. You can scare them with your new knowledge. So, fun fact if you want to scare people about snakes. Most snakes are really good swimmers. I've had a lot of people think if you throw a snake like into a lake or into a pond, something like that. We actually have a small pond at our house, and my mother-in-law really, really hates snakes. And she's like, well, just throw that snake in the water. I'm like, sure. Swim right back out. They're really good swimmers. So just FYI, if you try to throw them in the water, they're going to get out. They're good swimmers. So now you know that. You can scare people if they think they're safe in the water. Snakes swim. All right. So there are 27 species of snake here in the great state of Iowa. Not all of those are located kind of in BV County or our northwest Iowa sector. Actually, we have one of the, when you look at variety of species, we don't actually have all that much in northwest Iowa. Eastern and southern Iowa is actually the place you want to go if you want more species or more variety of snakes, which some of you might be breathing a sigh of relief about that information. I am sad because I would like some more species, but there are some people I can hear going, oh, I can hear you at home days from now sighing that there are less snakes that you have to worry about here. So this little guy in my hand is one of the more common snakes here in Iowa. This is a fox snake. He's probably I'd say our second most common and most common large snake. These guys, this is still kind of a teenage one maybe. He is not fully grown. Once they're fully grown, they can be about 3.5 to 4 feet. And this is he's a little gray with kind of dark blotches on him. When they get bigger, that gray will turn brown, kind of a chocolate brown. So that's one way we know it's more of a teenage fox snake, is we have more of a gray color than a brown color. These guys are a member of the rat snake family, so they are able to climb trees. It's not very often that they do this with fox snakes, but they are able to. Our next snake that we look at is another species of rat snake, and they are known for climbing trees. So we'll look at those scales when we get our other guy out here in a little bit. But these guys, you can see, not so much towns, but they live anywhere where there's like open grassland, like out at our park where we are, some timber places like that, lots of trees. We will see these guys, and they love to sunbathe. I actually found one that was a little smaller than this yesterday on my way home from work. There's one on the gravel road. And yes, kids, I stopped my car and escorted the snake across the road. I will tell you, please don't run the snakes over. They do good things, which we're going to talk about in a second. But these guys are seen a lot, blacktops, gravel roads, sunning or basking. They are ectothermic, so you can say they're cold-blooded if you prefer that word. And so their body temperature changes based on their environment. So when it's cold outside, they are cold. So typically, in the mornings, we tend to see them basking when it's summer, because that's when it's cooler, so they come out and kind of warm up. Once it gets nice and hot and it's kind of the warmer part of the day, then these guys they'll go move somewhere cooler where there's some shade, something like that, because they don't want to overheat either. So their body temperature, think of it kind of a wave. It goes up and down depending on their environment. So these guys actually are hibernators in the wintertime. It gets too cold, they would freeze to death, so these guys will actually hibernate, usually underground, deep underground below the frost line. And they will actually go in they call it a hibernaculum or a den, and there'll be lots of different snakes and even different species together that will hibernate. But fox snakes, pretty cool snake. Eat a lot of rodents, so if you are a farmer, it's a good friend to have around. They eat mice, some rats, voles, shrews, things like that are typically what their diet is. People have asked on insects, maybe on occasion. Garter snakes are much more likely to eat insects, and garter snakes actually are the only snake that is not protected by state law in Iowa. Rattlesnakes, timber rattlesnakes, and some species of snakes are protected by county only, and so they are not protected in Beebe County because we do not have them. And there are actually 4 species of venomous snake here in Iowa. None are located in Beebe County or Clay County or, Sac County or Polka County or anything that's closely related around here. 3 of those species, the Massasauga, the copperhead, which is very, very rare, only comes into Lee County in the very southeast corner of the state, and then the prairie rattlesnakes are all endangered species here in Iowa, so be very, very rare you ever encounter one, and they're mostly found either in the very few little pockets in the Loess Hills or in very eastern Iowa. The most widely scattered and most common are timber rattlesnakes, and there are some pockets in like southeastern Iowa and some along eastern Iowa and a few along the very western border, but nothing around here. So you can all, again, another sigh of relief that there are not rattlesnakes in our county. But I bring that up because these guys, when they are frightened or they are upset, they will actually rattle that tail. It sounds like a rattle. They vibrate it. And they have to lay it down on a surface. So it needs to be touching, usually outside it's going to be touching like the gravel. It's going to be touching sticks, leaves, grasses, things like that. And they'll shake it like this. And it will make a buzz noise. Kind of sounds like a cell phone when it's on vibrate. And that's a protection. That's a predatory response. So some predator, like a fox, comes along, they see that and go, whoa, that could be a rattlesnake. I don't want to eat that. Or if it's a human, they go, whoa, that could be a rattlesnake. That really scares me. I'm going to leave it alone. They are not rattlesnakes. They do not have any rattle whatsoever on their tail. They just have a plain tail. If they were a rattlesnake, you'd actually see a rattle. And I believe I have one. I have it right here up close. So when we have a fox snake, which I can show you guys, send some pictures on with Colleen to post about that too. They just have a very plain tail. It just ends, goes to a little tip, like a little triangle tip, and it's done. If you are a rattlesnake, however, your tail actually ends in a rattle. You can hear it. There is nothing inside it. People have asked, like, are there little beads or something inside of it? That's actually just air, and it's the little segments bouncing back and forth that make that rattle sound. But rattlesnakes, in order to make their rattle work, it has to be off the ground. If it was on the ground, it doesn't work as well, and it can damage the rattles. They're actually semi-fragile. So for a rattlesnake, when they're moving, they always have their tail up in the air, at least 6 inches off the ground. Even when they're crawling, their tail is straight up. Fox snakes don't do that. Fox snakes, you can see when she's crawling, her tail is touching the ground. If she was a rattlesnake, it'd be up like this. Okay? So that's one really easy way to tell the difference. Rattlesnakes are also, typically their heads are more triangle shaped. These guys have round heads, or rounded or curved. Fox snakes or any of your non-venomous snakes like bull snakes, things like that here in Iowa are going to have round pupils, so circles like a person's. If you have a rattlesnake, they have diamonds kind of shape, a cat eye shape to their pupil. It looks very different. Fox snakes tend to be long and skinny. Rattlesnakes are more short and fat. They're a little more stout. So there's a few ways to tell the differences. Not that you guys hopefully would ever have to do that. And as many people I've told this, especially to my mom, she's like, the tail thing is more helpful because I don't want to get close enough to look at their eyes. And that's good. You probably shouldn't get that close. Even with our fox snakes, if they're vibrating their tail at you, they are telling you that they are upset, they are frightened, back off, because they will strike at you. They have little modified scales in their mouth. So, I mean, it does hurt a little bit like a pinch. It's not going to hurt you. There is no venom that's going to make you sick or anything like that. But they will strike. I mean, that's their only, I tell kids, it's their only defense. They could go to the bathroom, which they can do. They can make a musk, a stinky, like, oil that they'll spray, and that really does stink. That's worse to me than a bite, because it takes forever to get that out. If you've ever had a dog roll in a snake and you smell garter snake, they roll, it's gross. I would much rather take a little nip. Chances are they're not going to break the skin. You're going to be fine. So and they can poop on you. But for instance, if this snake was mad, that's about their only option. I'm going to musk and go to the bathroom, or I'm going to bite. Like, that's their only defense against you. So people think that snakes want to come out and just bite everybody, and that's not true. A lot of times when I've heard about snake bites, somebody, it's either an accident, they're moving a wood pile and there's a snake in there and it bit them, or a lot of times it's younger people thinking they're cool and they're bothering the snake, and so the snake bit them because the snake was like, hey, I'm scared, I'm upset, you didn't listen to my warning. It's just like a skunk. You don't listen to the warning, you're going to get sprayed. So we'll let our little fox snake here go back in her house. I'll get my bigger snake out for you. Get to see a tour of the office while I'm going. So exciting. Here you go, lady. She doesn't want to go back in. She wants to see you guys. She's trying to crawl back out. Here you go. Okey doke. We'll grab Big Boy out here. It's your turn again. You want to see the kids? Yeah. Well, you're getting cloudy eyes. You're getting ready to shed again. So he's not in all his usual glory today. He's actually shed a lot. I think he's putting on some weight during this social distancing quarantine. He's eating a little bit more than normal. Because usually he sheds about 4 times a year, and this is his 3rd time already this year. Which might be a little hard for you guys to see, but he has very cloudy eyeballs right now. And that is because that eye cap is drying up, so then they can shed. So then we'll get, like, there's a skin for you. That's a rattlesnake skin, but they will shed that. It'll peel off them, and that is healthy. They want to shed. You want them to. They shed. The more they grow, the faster they grow, the more they shed. He's almost 10 now, so he's older. He doesn't shed as much as when he was little. When he shed 7, sometimes even almost 8 times a year. The more they eat, the faster they grow. So shedding not only has helped them grow and get larger. But shedding also is healthy, especially in the wild. So if they get an injury and they get a scab, like if we got a paper cut and got a scab, once that scab heals over, shedding that skin gets rid of that scab or that scar, that tissue that could be building up. If any ticks or anything like that, any insects like that would attach to them, shedding gets rid of those. So it's a very helpful thing that you would want in the environment if you were a wild snake. Now, mostly, they don't really have to worry about so much of that in captivity. But this guy, he's about as big as he's going to get. He could maybe get a little bigger. He's about 5.5 feet fully stretched out. But he can get about 6, almost 6.5 feet. So this guy is called a black rat snake. And they do have some variety. For the most part, people think they would be pitch black. They are more pitch black when they're younger. But he has actually a lot of stripes, white blotches. You can see his white underbelly right here, and these are the scales Willie could lift up. I know, you're getting ready to shed, and you're getting hungry, and you can't eat today. You're not eating today. So he's like, I want to eat. I want to move around, I want to eat. She won't let me eat. It's a sad day when you don't get to eat every day. And no, I do not feed the snakes every day. Snakes, since they are ectotherms or cold-blooded, they don't need to eat the way that humans and people need to eat. Okay? So he's about, you're pretty much full, yeah, you're full grown size. You're a little smaller than some. Some of you might be able to see his tongue going in and out when he's flicking his tongue in and out. People get really nervous about that. It's not something to be nervous about. It's actually a good sign. That means they're smelling, so he's checking everything out. That's their best sense in the world. Snakes is it's called the Jacobson's organ in the roof of their mouth, is their sense of smell. He actually has decent eyesight because he's an arboreal snake, meaning he will live up in the trees most of the time. So he has good eyesight, but like our fox snake, it's okay. It's not that great of eyesight as snakes go. And so no arms and legs, obviously. They are all, the fox snake and our black rat that we have here are constrictors. So in Iowa we have constrictors, so they're going to wrap around their prey. Every time their prey takes a breath, they're going to squeeze it tighter until they kill the prey. And then they eat it. They always swallow head first. And that helps them get past shoulders and things, otherwise they can choke. And then, or you envenomate, so like a rattlesnake. You put venom in it, wait for that animal to die, and then they would eat it. So those are, everybody I have is a constrictor. I do not keep any venomous snakes, even if we had the permit for that. That'd be very dangerous. So I do not keep those guys. I just keep regular constrictors here that eat mice or eat worms. That's kind of what we keep here. You have to be a mouse eater or a worm eater, and occasionally a cricket eater, because that's usually what Naturalist Katie keeps at the office. But these guys, like I said, are arboreals. They spend a lot of times in trees. They are not in BV County. They are in more eastern Iowa, but they eat a lot of eggs. They'll eat bird eggs, but they'll also eat rats and mice and things like that too, kind of whatever they can catch. And they are more of a nocturnal snake, so these guys are seen more at nighttime than they are during the daytime. But that's kind of what I've got for you guys on some snakes. I hope you had some fun time learning about snakes with us on our virtual indoor-outdoor classroom, as we're going to call it today. But you guys, most of you guys know if you have any questions, I think your teacher is going to put these links up. You can have her shoot me an email, or if you yourself wanted to email me a question about snakes, I would be happy to answer that. And my email is naturalist@bvcountyparks.com. Or we have Buena Vista County Conservation's Facebook page. We do lives Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 to learn about new cool stuff. And you could also message me if you have snake questions or anything like that on there, and I would be happy to answer them. So I hope everybody is staying safe, practicing your social distancing, and doing the best that you can and learning some awesome stuff during this kind of crazy time in our world. And I hope to see you guys here very shortly, and hopefully for sure next year at school, but hopefully here with some public programs soon. So stay tuned.